Welcome, Rexers. Thank you for joining me once again. Time for some Pokemon Go life hacks.
Good job. It's incredible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for you.
Just for you.
What are these life hacks, you say? Well, I decided to make a little video about the hardcore Pokemon Go player that's out there that can really use a little boost in their daily grind. And these little tips and tricks kind of help me. This is not so much game related as much as it's things to help improve your overall experience while you're playing the game. And unlike most of the other parts of the country, we're not all living in sunny Southern California. So these tips will help. Tip number 1. It's raining outside, or it's crappy, or just like recently here, there's a lot of snow on the ground. How can you play and keep yourself dry? Or at least how can you keep yourself from not getting sloshed around? Now, you can go out there and buy expensive boots, rubber boots, or steel-toed shoes. There is an easier, cheaper way if you don't mind being fashionably challenged, but a real simple way of making this easier on yourself and also to keep yourself dry. And it's a little trick that I learned. Watch. These are your standard shoes. They're not steel-toed, they're not waterproof or anything like that. They're regular sneakers. Here's the trick. Simple plastic bag. You can get these from any convenience store. What do you do with these? Watch. Okay, I'm about ready to go out in the snow, but I don't want to get wet. Now the sneakers are great, but obviously they're not waterproof. Well, how can you enhance your Pokemon Go travels? Easy. Just put it around your sock, like such. Now it's by no means, and then you take the two ends where you pull up, and you just tie them like a small little simple knot. Now it's not completely waterproof, but this will prevent you from getting soaked. More importantly, it'll keep your socks dry. Now, if you're worried about fashion, for guys, you can just tuck it under your jeans. For girls, or for everyone that has high socks, there's another trick. Here, I'll put my sock up. You tie them, and you tie them again, just so you have a better seal. Then you can tuck the end where you tie them into your sock, and then you put your jeans over it. That'll kind of give it a little bit of an anchor. Now, of course, for ladies who wear skirts, well, you probably wouldn't be wearing skirts out in the snow or the rain anyways. You might be, but then you could do the whole boot thing, because women have a tendency to have more boots than guys. I'm trying to think what else. If you have like long johns or anything like that, you could tuck it under. And then you just put them in your shoes, like so. Now I remember seeing a particular video where Nick was out in the snow recently, like just within the past week, and he was trying off his socks. Well, this could prevent that, because you won't have to worry about your socks being wet unless you're like 6 inches underwater for long periods of time. Then even steel-toed boots will keep you dry. This tip will keep you dry in rains, snows, pretty much anything where it's wet. And it's a little bit more insulation when it gets cold out. That's tip number 1. Okay, tip number 2. And I have to give a shout out to Trent, who helped him out in the last community day, even though nothing happened of it. It was awesome that he gave this to me. A real simple, handy device for when it's cold. Well, I'd say even if it's rainy, more specifically when it's cold. Hand warmers. You can get a simple little packet that all you have to do is tear it open, shake it in the air, listen to the cool sound. No, it's not an Asmir recording. This particular brand is Hot Hands, and after a few moments it warms up, and it's not like an uncomfortable heat, it's just enough to keep your hands warm. Now if you're out there in the snow and the cold,
baby, it's cold outside,
and you're playing Pokemon Go, this is vital, because if you play, after a while your hands will cramp up.
They look like good, strong hands, don't they?
And you won't be able to throw well, you won't be able to do consistent, excellent, and great throws. This is a must-have. Keep these with you all the time. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3. Now, I know this may sound simple, but I think a lot of people don't realize the real benefit of such a thing. And you have seen me with this before, and it's not just a fashion statement, but it's very practical as well. Wear a hat. What this does, it prevents a lot of things from potentially falling while you're playing. It's good for minor rain prevention, snow prevention, as well as dust. And if you're in a dusty area, things kind of, at least it'll cover from blowing into your eyes. Real simple thing to wear. You can wear a baseball. Something that will keep your eyes at least a little bit shaded. What's good about Southern California, and this is actually a good hack for you, if you're walking around and it's very sunny, sometimes the sun can kind of get very blinding and be like, oh man, I'm getting too much sun, is starting to hurt my eyes. Well, this will give you at least a little bit of cover. As you see, it's shading my eyes. So you can go out you can go out more and last longer, so you're not having constant sun eye strain, because it'll come down and protect you. And baseball caps are good with that too. So that's tip number 3. Okay, tip number 4. Now, many of you probably are already aware of this, but I've actually come across people who don't know. Carrying around a portable charger that will charge up your phone is vital. Because if you're on community day, the last thing you want to see while you're playing on your phone is that battery life at 10% to get the last hour. So what you do is just plug it in.
Plug it in, plug it in.
Now I have a Samsung S8 on mine, so I need a Type-C charger. This is a Type-C charger. Basically it has a round cylindrical end at the end. And this is a Type-B charger. As you can tell, it looks slightly different. It's wider in the bottom and smaller on the top. So just be aware that when you're looking for chargers and connection points, you want to have a USB to a Type-C or Type-B depending on your phone. Older phones use Type-B, newer phones have Type-C, as I believe iPhones also use a Type-C type of interface. Why it's important is because you notice in this device, this battery charger is actually a Type-B that I use an adapter to make it a Type-C, and you can get those. I also have a dual bank battery charger as well, which means it has 2 USB connections, so you and a buddy can charge off the same charger. So if you're battling someone in PvP or just doing a raid together and they need a quick charge with you, it's vital to carry one of those, because not only can you help yourself, but you can also help a buddy, and they'll always forever be in your debt.
Always.
Life hack tip number 5. I know this may seem like common sense, but you would be surprised. Basically, keep yourself hydrated and keep yourself energized. Now, there's a caveat to this. You gotta make sure that whatever, I'm not particularly endorsing this particular product, but just look at the products that you get and make sure what you get doesn't have high amount of sugar. The reason why you want to be careful about this is, yeah, you may get a sugar boost, but if you're especially on a long grind, you'll get the sugar crash. And the last thing you need to do in the last hour of a community day or a mini wafu or wafu, when you're at the 6th or 8th hour, is to suddenly feel like the crash or the lazy, I'm getting tired kind of thing. Because you want to stay consistent, you want to keep energized. So you just want to keep yourself hydrated with water. Yeah, a lot of people want to keep caffeinated. I'm not going to really mention caffeine, because caffeine also has the spike and the crash that can potentially hit people. But at least being hydrated will keep you going. Mystic 7, I'm looking at you. And of course you need to have some sort of snack with you at all time. If you're going to do a main wafu where you're going to be at least 10 hours, at the very minimum have at least 4 of these. 1/2, 3 for every 3 hours, and a 4th one for emergency, or in case someone is having an issue with your caravan, you can at least spare an extra one. Well, there are my 5 pro tips, life hacks for Pokemon Go players, especially for those on the grind. Hopefully this was informative and helpful. If so, leave a comment, subscribe, like, and tell me if you want any more life hacks beyond Pokemon Go, because there's plenty of stuff that you can do that actually make your life a lot more efficient. And I'm wondering if I should do a YouTuber life hacks. There's lots of things I've learned that may help you out if you're an inspiring YouTuber, even if you're a long time YouTuber, and just things that you didn't even realize that could help you out. If you're new, subscribe, leave a comment, and have a wonderful, beautiful day. Peace out.